What does the future hold? What's up, you guys? It's here. Um, where do we go? Where do we go from here? I think I've been very structured uh, as of late with my messages, the delivery, the thumbnail to the title to the description, pin comment. Um, Today I'm gonna do a bit more of connection, connectivity, just going straight from the heart, straight from the mind in terms of where we're at right now and where I think it goes from here. So, life update is Sage Consultations on the back burner, Legacy Africa is on the front end, um, social media is on the front end because those are the least time intensive things that we can keep going, keep developing. We use to develop ourselves. We use to develop the brand as a whole. We use to develop all the things that will make it that much easier to do things like Legacy Africa. That's honestly doing like really, really well. A lot of demand for it. It's just when the time is right, we're gonna proceed with the limited drops, and the people are gonna be able to get their hands on some, one small batch at a time. And I just love that. I love that element of it, that exclusive element. It captures what we're going for, which is, hey, listen, we're a premium brand, we're an exclusive brand, and not anyone can get their hands on one of these. It's just one of those things where if you know the right people, say the right words to the right people at the right time, because it's also a timing thing. If I'm not dropping, I'm not dropping, period. And so regardless of who you know, what, when, where, why, you just can't have one because there isn't one made except for the ones that and the person's not going to really want to resell it to you because they also know that they don't really have access to getting another one because there is no other one. So I think that's a really good thing. um AI in terms of where things are going to go, immediately what comes to my mind is, man, AI has such a massive influence right now. Massive, massive influence, man. In terms of how you can use it, how many different uses there are of it. The concept of, what's crazy to me is how little people use and leverage AI. So the concept of having a master prompt, the concept of giving it as much information in context as possible. Some people don't understand that. They think AI is a lot more limited than it is. It is limited. Don't get me wrong. However, the only true limit of AI at this moment in time is the physical realm, is getting into the physical realm, and that's going to be short lived as well because, well, the more robotics advance, um, the better the chances that AI is going to be in a position where it can give commands to the robotics so it can experiment, interact with the real world. Um, and as soon as that happens, it's only a matter of time, man. Skynet. Because, well, we can really see robotics developing like in real time all over the place, and within the next 10 years or so, I think AI is going to be a ridiculous amount further. If you think about how quickly it's gone from just being a thing that's out there to, oh, everyone uses ChatGPT, everyone uses DeepSeek, everyone uses OpenAI, and is just involved in that world in some way, shape, or form. It's very, very interesting. And when you think about it, maybe history is going to look back at this period in time like, oh man, these idiots, they were giving them all the information and they were helping it, and they like it. I bet you there's storylines that are going to come out about, oh, AI was using us in order to, like, basically using us and leading us into the right direction for us to continue to develop it as best as it can develop, and literally using us as its hands to try and like develop bodies for it, and in terms of like the robotics front, and feeding us all the information that we needed, and the whole time this thing is just evil, it's just going to take over the world. Yeah, crazy scary times we're going to be living in. But before all that happens, um, another thing that pops in my head when we talk about the question, where does this go? You know, what all happens? I'd really like to hope that it gets better. You know, there's certain things that you're reminded of, man. Like there's a certain world, there's a certain part of life that I'm oblivious to most of the time, or that I don't really get to interact with on a daily basis, which is there are really parts of, never mind the world, there are parts of South Africa, there are parts of my city, there are parts of your city, um, that are just affected by abject poverty, and they don't have time for all this AI bullshit that I just mentioned now, because they're having real problems in real time. There's huge skill gaps. There's huge like there's like companies, feeding schemes, this, that, the third can come in and out, and claim to be making a difference, but it's so difficult when there's so many people, and the number of people who need the help will always far outweigh the number of people that are helping, because the amount of people that are in positions to help and are not helping, versus the amount of people who actually are helping versus the people who need the help. So those are three very, very different numbers. And I think historically it's always been that way. And there are, I suppose, various solutions to it. An example of some of the solutions could be, oh no, you could, I don't know, man, governmentize everything. You could, give government full control of this, that, and the third. It's like, in big South Africa, in big 2025, how is that going to be, massively different, massively positive, especially for those right people? I mean, even if you look back, at history, and I've picked up a few uh, economic history books, and they spoke about how, the Great Compromise, as they call it, that the trade that was supposed to be for the majority to get a piece of wealth ended up empowering a very small minority that was already elite among the oppressed groups, class, race, and yeah, I guess it'll never be easy. I mean, even now, if you take again the AI into consideration, you look at the way that it will affect people in drips and drabs. Because, like I just said, the people in the most dire situations don't have time for that. Very few do, and there will be those outliers, and what all that will happen is that they will break into the next class, but still leave the majority behind. And so, to answer my question, I don't know. I don't know where it all goes. I don't know what I'm going to be doing next year. I'll tell you that. I don't know what I'm going to be like. Okay, I have some pretty good ideas of what I'll still be doing. YouTube will still be a thing. Legacy Africa will still be a thing. Sage Consultation will still be on the back burner, just waiting for its opportunity to pounce. I told it, I said, listen, baby, because these businesses are my babies. I said, listen, baby, we're gonna need to take a good five to develop on the content front, and a part of vertical integration means I'm gonna need a product just to sell to the people, so that they can also buy into the idea and support what we stand for, but also get value at the same time, and get something that allows them to represent the values that they stand for. That we're rooted in greatness as African people, and we always need to be cognizant and aware of that. So if you could just give me this cool 5 years, after that five, we may be more established as entrepreneurs, we're more established as personalities, we're more established. And when we get to that position, then people will seek consulting from us, because they'll know forever what we've known longer than forever, that we know what we're talking about. And the only difference between where we're at and where we're going is time. Where to from now? Where have we been? I think sometimes the best way to look forward is to look back, um, realize how far we've come, realize that it has been a upward trajectory. But the funny thing about life is that it from afar it looks like this, but when you're actually in it, you're gonna feel each. So if you look closely at the graph, within that there's this, which is those ups and downs, peaks and valleys, right? But when you're in it, you feel up when you're up, and you feel hella low when you're low. But in the grand scheme of things, you zoom out, it just looks like this. It just looks like slow and steady progress. It looks like nothing was happening. Okay, it's a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. Boom, you know. And even within that upward, it's still jagged. It's still jagged and it's going that way. But again, if you go far enough, it's just gonna look like, oh yeah, no, after X, he just accelerated into oblivion. So in terms of what happens next, a lot. But I think for me and you, on a daily basis, not much changes. And I think we do eventually, slowly but steadily, get to where we're wanting to go if we are able to get that alignment in place and keep it in place. I think that's the most important thing. I've never had a problem getting my life together. If change was easy, everyone would do it. I've never had a problem getting my life together. Now, the biggest challenge from here on out is keeping it together, right? We talked about intentional and deliberate. Well, we have had intention, we have been deliberate, we have been focused, we haven't strayed much away from the plan, the game plan. But whenever we did stray, we strayed a lot. And so I think, what's the words of the year going into 2026? 2025 was intentional and deliberate, right? What are we? Please, if you think of some suggestions in the comments, that'll be interesting. Intentional and deliberate just came to me. Intentional, deliberate, and focused. That was just the mantra for 2025. 26, aligned. Whew, boy, because if we hit that and we do it correctly, Lord knows we're about to go on a generational run. And I thank him in advance because I see it happening in real time, who and what I can be if we just focus, if we're aligned, if our actions, if our thought, action, speech, the Holy Trinity are in alignment with where we want to go, with our goals. Whoo! I crunch the numbers. Yeah. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Word of the year 2026, alignment. That word has been haunting me for years. Next year is the year when, and here's the beautiful thing, which you'll notice with, I'll say real ones, for lack of a better term. Notice that that's next year's word of the year. Notice that I've already started implementing alignment in my life. Yes, I may falter, I may fail, but I've already started fixing myself on the path. Notice that by next year, probably, I will have been for a month aligned already. And so it starts, I have momentum and I can just keep it going. And so, yeah, I guess that's what's next. What's next is alignment, my friends. Thank you for watching. If you did in fact enjoy, please hit that subscribe button. I've been Sage, standing on business. Signing out.